Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to another fabulous episode of Paid Forward. This video is super special to me because I have called one of my dearest friends and a fabulous writer, Natasha Sharma, to pay it forward. Like most of the writers and the authors that I have in my friend list today, I met Natasha via Penmancy, where we were both trying out our own brand of writing and trying to figure out who we were as writers. Back then I was in Mumbai and she was in Pune, and now 2 years later both of us are in Pune and we live like 10 minutes away from each other, and it has been such a ride. I am so grateful for everything that is working around me to bring me in contact with Natasha, because the last couple of years have been very challenging when it comes to personal emergencies and family emergencies, and Natasha has been there for me, whether it is family or just to bitch about stuff or to write anything. Okay, she's the kind of person that I will call in the middle of the night and talk about a particular plot that has come to me and I want to write a story. She's that kind of a friend, and I'm so happy to have her here today. I know most of you have heard the big announcement on Natasha's social media, and we will also talk about that, and we will talk about how Natasha has grown as a writer, what has her writing journey been like, and what all she has experienced in all these years that she has been writing. Chalo, let's get to know Natasha a little bit. You will get to know her a little bit. I know her a lot. Hi Natasha, welcome to Pay It Forward. I am so excited to have you here. Finally, one of my best friends.
Can I say thank you?
Like I think both of us are feeling like celebrities right now. Oh my god, my best friend is here.
I know. And just to let you know, Monica and we have actually made sure we wore the same. We sort of twinning in black.
Yeah, we are like always in black. So yeah. All right, Natasha. Okay, before we get into all of my questions, and you have to give the answers to those questions, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Who is Natasha, so that everybody can know you a little bit? Who are you? What do you do? Where do you live? All of those things.
Okay, I am someone who should be best left unknown.
Oh, you want to be intriguing and mysterious.
I want to be an enigma.
Yeah.
Sadly, to be an enigma, you have to be someone who doesn't talk much. So sadly, that's a failure.
So enigma, to right, just strike it off. It can't be enigma.
I know. So I'm a true blue Bombayite who, though despite the true blue Monica, I don't stay in Bombay. I stay in Pune. I am from the IT professional world, which is got to do all with ones and zeros. And despite that, I love creativity. I love to do anything with art.
And you have a dog called Biscuit.
I have a dog called Biscuit who has a bigger fan following than me. So in fact, most of my friends, each one of them, every morning they ping me and they're like, how are you? I'm like, fine, how are you? How's the dog? Yeah, he's okay. Can we see a photograph of him?
So that's the thing about pet parents. Now that kahin bhi jao, you have to talk about your pets first.
Absolutely.
So that it is established that you're going to be that sort of a person.
Now be ready to be bombarded with you. Because you opened the Pandora's box. You say you like dogs.
We kind of band together, like how mothers with new babies band together. Oh, look at the picture of my baby. And we know how annoying it is for other people. So that as soon as we find somebody, acha, aapke paas pet hai? Oh wow, welcome to the club.
I think what bonds pet parents together is the fact that the kind of affection that you get from your pet, it's not always feasible to get it from another human being. And the absolute complete love. I can't say it's completely selfless, but tending towards selflessness love that you get.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Natasha Sharma being controversial from the very beginning. So no human being is capable of loving as much as your pet is.
Absolutely. And trust me, I've been married for 20 years. I have a 10-year-old child and a 3.5-year-old dog. And I say this with authority. My dog loves me.
Absolutely. I think that's the only thing that we can say with 100% surety that our pets love us, and to hell with everybody else.
As long as you're there. There's this very famous song. It can be used in a situation. It's from a movie called The Beaches. Where it's a sort of Bette Midler song, ode to friendship, where she says, as long as we have the two of us, we have the world and its charm. And once the world is through with us, we've got each other's arms.
Beautiful. Very, 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 very apt for this scenario. Yes. All right. One of the most important questions that anybody can ask a writer is, why do you write? So that's my next question for you.
When they asked the guy who climbed Edmund Hillary, I think who climbed the...
I think so. I'm not sure.
Everest.
Okay, people are going to witness our utter ignorance. Yes.
Proud to be ignorant.
The guy who climbed
Everest. Mr. First Time Everest.
Yes.
So they asked him, why did you choose the Everest? And his answer was so amazing. Because it's there. I'm going to customize the answer and say I write because I can. And I write primarily because I can. Secondly, because it's an outlet. It's a way of, it's a way of expressing things that you see, expressing emotions that you see. And despite the fact that I talk a lot, I'm actually a very good observer. So my it stems from the fact that I've traveled so much in trains. Trains and railway stations are the best places to get fodder for your characters, for your
Absolutely, yes.
To summarize, I write because I can. I write because it gives me unadulterated joy to put pen to paper or finger to laptop and just let what is there in your mind to come out onto words. And when some people appreciate it, it makes the flame burn brighter.
True, very true. Beautiful. So my next question to you is, do you remember your first ever achievement when it comes to writing? And achievement in the sense, not the first story you wrote, but the first thing that gave you this sense of, oh, I am a good writer. I can do something with this. So, do you remember what it was and how did it make you feel?
It was, surprisingly, a non-fiction article. I am not famous for writing non-fiction. I don't do that very often.
That's why my expression really was a non-fiction.
I know, it was our first piece that actually went out. It was on, I think, She the People, because it is still there. It's called The Awakening. It was primarily, it was an article that I had written. I was experiencing depression and I had taken therapy for a couple of sessions, and that's when I realized that the kind of unrealistic expectations that we set onto ourselves is mainly the cause for bringing ourselves down. And once you realize your limitations and you kind of titrate or calibrate your expectations, so it makes you feel better about yourself. So the article essentially dealt with how I was trying to get back, physically get back into shape, and in addition to the physical aspect, I was also working on the mental aspect. And when that article came out, and I had quite a few people, quite a few men actually, who kind of got back to me and said, this is really, it's something that kind of has touched us, something that has it's resonated with us. We could relate to what you've written there. And that is the point when I felt that, okay, I could write. Also, my mentor during my master's, Dr. Matthew TJ, he had immense faith in me. And, I used to write technical papers, and he would always come back to me and say, why don't you write, why don't you write a book? Why don't you write a story? Why don't you write fiction? And I always say, sir, I don't have the ability to write fiction. I'm too unfocused. I would say it's his relentless faith and of course his screaming and shouting,
pestering,
lecturing. It was his immense joy that he would get. Each time a paper would get published, and he would go and tell it to everyone in the department. And everyone would come and say, see, my student's paper is published here. And if I ever won any competition, or if I won any something got published, he would still depend on his email, and he would write an email to everybody, and that has won a competition. I was like, so it's intervention. And the reaction to the first article, Awakening, I mean, it made me feel that there is a flame that's kind of burning inside. It may not be very strong right now, but it is resilient and it has the capacity to light myself from inside, to illuminate myself from inside. I have really taken a long time to answer your question, but then you know how
I came prepared with a lot of time on my hands because I knew that you would be voluble. Jokes apart, I think it happened to me as well, and I think it takes somebody else to show us how much pride they take in our writing and in our words to finally bring it home. Okay, no, probably there is something. Yeah, absolutely. I can totally relate to that. So, when was this article? When did it come out? Which year? Approximately, like tentatively?
Maybe 2020.
Oh yeah, not a long time ago then. Yeah.
I mean, till then I used to write, but I mostly wrote for myself or for my friends in really bad grammar. And now that I look at my previous work,
You have already broached on, my next question. This was going to be my next question. Do you ever go back to what you had written like 2 years ago when you actually started writing and read it and just kind of wonder, like, did I write this? And how do you see yourself having changed from that person, that writer, to now? Do you feel funny? Do you feel overwhelmed at times?
It varies to some extent. I used to write. I still am very fond of mysteries. So I had this series of 4 stories and a couple of ones unfinished about 2 inspectors called Rahul and Supriya. And the mysteries were so. They were okay. Dialogues are fine. Oh God, but the dialogue tags, the way you write things, the way you describe a scene, the way you describe a dead body, passive sentences. So when I read that, and I was like, what that immediately comes, to your mind, like a neon light, is cringe. Like, how could I have written this? But having said that, there are certain parts that is not stories, but certain paragraphs that I've written for, especially female characters who sort of not awakening, but having some sort of for the lack of any other word, awakening. But those parts still made sense and they still resonated. So there were a few, maybe sentence structuring mistakes, but otherwise, they made a lot of sense. And the funny part is that recently there's this site called Fiction Mandal, if I'm not mistaken. And they pinged me and they wanted my Rahul and Supriya story. They were like, please, can we have them? And I was like, listen, they're so bad. I can give you better stories. And like, no, I think you like them. Can we take them? Okay, so I get it now. I don't have the time. They're like, no, we love it so much. Please send it to us. I was like, okay.
See, they were not as cringe as you, thought they were. If somebody wanted those stories.
Or they're just being polite. I mean, it is not as cringe, but when you start writing, and then you realize that there's the concept of show, don't tell. You don't say someone is crying, you show that they're crying.
You show that.
Those things are very limited in your initial works. There is more of telling. There is if 2 people are talking, like if Monica and I are talking, I would not say Monica said, Natasha smiled, Monica laughed. Because it's assumed that when 2 people are talking, it's one follows the other. It's a rational way of looking at things. So those, smaller things like this, dialogue tags, or in fact, there's absolutely no show. It's all tell. I've learned from pregnancy about how do you show and not tell, how do you structure your plots. All that really came much later.
But then, there is also the sense of, reading all of those, because I do that a lot. I don't know why I do that. But I do go back to my stories, the things that I used to write, and I read them, and there's a sense of, I don't know, I would call it power, because I have no other word for it. A sense of power of knowing that, you have come so far, like, from that time that you did not know show and tell, you did not know how to even structure sentences properly or dialogue tags kaise use karne hai. But now that you are here, you kind of wonder कि यार इतनी जल्दी टाइम कैसे चला गया. अभी पिछले साल ही तो लिखी थी ये मैंने, and मैं अभी कहाँ पे.
I mean, the journey that one takes from when one starts as a novice to one who's somewhat midway experienced is a fairly quick journey, I would say. But moving from someone who's mid-level experience to someone who's great, is the bigger.
That's there, like mid-level पे आके, there's this kind of a plateau.
There's a plateau, right.
Enter,
Wo jump karna is something that I'm still working on, by experimenting different styles. Some work, some don't, but it's fun.
The more you experiment, the more you get exposed to different kind of writing styles, and the more you learn. Who knows?
And because one reads so much, and see, earlier also we used to read. It's not we don't read earlier. But when I was younger and I was only a reader, at that point we didn't have many path-breaking authors. There was some. I can't remember what the author's name, but there was this one author that I read whose entire book is in interview cassettes of a police interview cassettes. The entire story is told in that. I mean, there's no show there. It's all tell, and it's all cassettes. The tape is whirring.
Much like those Ted Bundy tapes, sort of thing.
Exactly. So these were, slightly rarer. I mean, most of them kind of towed the line when I was younger. But now I see a lot of change in authors' styles and the way they bring forward their ideas. Like recently, I was reading. There were these two examples that I want to talk about. There's this one book that I read about. It's a story. It's like Natasha is writing a story, and while I am writing the story, I am also communicating with Monica. So there are two stories happening at the same time.
Right.
So the mystery is happening in the story that I am writing, and for some reason I am sending the manuscript in work in progress to Monica, and Monica and I are exchanging letters. So she is commenting on the story that's happening, and then it's as you go on, it is revealed that it's revealed that Monica is a murderer and she is in the jail, and I was not really writing, but she has somehow, I don't know why we communicate, that is not explained. But Monica then comes to, I think, Australia, where I'm staying, and then she tries to attack me, and all this is happening while the story and the mystery is happening in the moving forward in the real part, and this is sort of a part 2, and both of them tell so well, where you have something which is happening in reality and something which is happening in fiction. And that the person who is writing it is the one who's actually experiencing a different story altogether. I was seriously blown away. So it's like a story within a story, beautifully written, and there is nowhere where you get confused. For example number 1. Example number 2 was something that we have tried in penmanship about the point of view, the second point of view. So I read a story where the book is told in 2 parts. The first part is written in the past, but it is the present,
right?
And it is first person narrative. So it's like I went here, I went there, and it is told in a boy and a girl format. The boy's version, the girl's version. It is happening currently, and it's written in the past. And the second part is in the past, but it is written in the present, and it is following a second point of view.
All right.
It is such an amazing book. It's called Ghosted, I think. You're mixing styles, you're mixing not genres, you're mixing tenses, you're mixing and you're mixing narratives. And I mean the second person is in the female's her mindset, but she is narrating a story of what the boy has thought, but she is narrating. So she is basically giving his view into his mind through her words, and it is first person. Oh man, I mean, what an idea!
I know, and to think that we are living in the times where all of this is embraced. People want these kind of writings and these kind of books. Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
Abhi, if you think about the time of the great, the classics, Jane Austen ho gaye, you have Shakespeare and all of those people. If this kind of experiment was done back then the book would have, it would have tanked. Like nobody, it would not have garnered readers. But now today, we are in those times where people are looking for something different. Readers are looking for something different. That's amazing, guys.
It taught me so much, technically speaking, it taught me so much as a writer, where to hold back, and where to, punch, and how do you hold it back? How do you mix two different tenses, two different real time happening, and an imaginative
Right.
how to mix it without confusing, and in the end how do you bring it makes sense to do it, but how do you cohesively, organically end it?
Amazing. Yeah. So seriously, this is what is, the difference between when you read for pleasure, when you read as a reader, and when you read as a writer. Like completely different things, and something that I did not expect when I switched to writing and being a writer. I did not expect it. I've been reading my whole life, and my experience of reading a book has become so much richer now. I don't know how to explain it.
You understand what the writer is trying to do, because when you read as a reader, you are behind the curtain, so you don't know, or earlier we didn't know what kind of tricks a writer has up their sleeve. It's only when you start writing, you understand foreshadowing, or you understand red herring, so that's when you start realizing that these are the tricks of the trade, and when you start appreciating what the person is doing.
Exactly.
So I'm like, good call. It enhances your experience. It makes you a bit more aware. You're kind of lost in the book, but you're also very aware of what the author is secretly trying to. Inception kind of a thing through books.
I know. It's almost like lucid dreaming, where before, when we were readers, we were only readers. We were interacting on a very, very superficial level with the author, and the author was like some unknown entity somewhere. And when you read a book as a writer, now you have the author right beside you, and when you read and when you find those Easter eggs and those nuggets, you're like, well done. I know, I saw what you did over there.
It's actually a mystery, you're like, I know what you're trying to do. Good attempt, but I caught you. But having said that, some authors still have the power to surprise us.
And I really appreciate these kind of authors, because even if the entire plot or the overall plot is something that I did not like, but the author manages to surprise me as a reader, I like, okay, you've done your job. You've done your job.
You earned your money for the book. Or my money for the book, whatever.
People watching this would be like, yaar, कितना arrogant है.
Absolutely. कुछ किया धरा है.
I don't know about being a writer. I will never claim, that imposter syndrome comes and sets in. But, when it comes to being a reader, I am arrogant. I'm an arrogant reader. I will debate anybody over it.
But my word is the last word.
I'm going to make a meme out of that. So now that we have spoken about, all of these changes that have, you have observed within yourself as a writer and even as a reader, which is the most drastic change amongst all of these changes as a writer that you would, that comes to the top of your head when you say that, okay, 2020 में मैं ऐसी writer थी, and now in 2022, this is the biggest change that has come.
I was a more is more kind of a writer. If there was any way that I could describe a scene anymore, I would. I could use amount of words. I could use all the amount of sentences.
You were those kind of students की scale से नाप के अपना आंसर लिखना है, जितना लंबा हो सकता है
जितना लिख लो उतने मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे. And incidentally, I digress, but the same professor, Dr. Matthew TJ, when when I was doing my masters, there was this one time when I wrote an answer. There was some examination that I was giving, and I wrote some 7-page answer for something called heat salt. Okay, and I was so proud of myself because I wrote a 7-page answer, and it was out of 10 marks, and he gave me 1.
What?
Yeah. And when I turned to the next page, there was this, I don't know what it was, but there was some question where I was supposed to explain some concept about some computers, and I did it in a paragraph. So I very cogently sort of summarized it, and it was out of 5 marks, and he'd given me 15. So I was there was such a dichotomy in my mind. Should I ask him why he gave me 1 out of 10 and 15 out of 5? But overall, when I got it, I had a better sum. I was higher than average. Later, much later, when I passed out, I did ask him. told me you just gave too much information. That is how I was. I mean, if I could, I would expand as much as possible. And what I've learned, recently in the last maybe year or so, is something that I keep telling ad nauseum: is less is more. Sometimes you make your reader imagine what you guide them. So it is like guided meditation, or so you take them down the path, but you don't think for them. So that sort of enhances the experience. That's what I've learned. That's what I think I have changed.
Whether you are able to implement it is a different question.
It's a different
You are aware of it. You are aware of it. Yes. That's what's important. Less is more, and brevity is your friend.
Absolutely. There is this acronym, right? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. So short, stupid is what I would aim at.
So let's do the big announcement now. The reason that we are here, I would like to tell everybody who is watching that Natasha has just bagged a contract for her first full-length book, and I'm so excited for you. Congratulations.
So thank you. See, I want everyone to know that Monica was with me when it happened, and we always say that sometimes in Hindi that the Masi has more love for the child than the mother.
Which is true in this case.
It is true. It is true. Oh my God, she pitched my book so well, and I was looking at her, I was like, damn it,
all right, now you can pitch your book to the viewers now, and I will not butt in like I did with the publisher.
I'm Natasha Sharma. So nice to be here. Thank you, Monica, for having me here. What I wanted to announce today was that my debut book, it's tentatively titled Under the Shadow of the Line. It has found its forever home in Vishwakarma Publications. And this has been possible, or this is possible only by the hard work of my agent, Ms. Lalita Ravindran from First Forays. And I would like to thank Vishal Soni and Nupur Jain for all their hard work that they've invested in me, for their trust in me to bag the rights of my book. Almost all of us are familiar with the India-Pakistan partition and its bloody aftermath. There is a fair bit of literature that deals with it, and yet I have chosen to write about it. During the freedom struggle, we speak about our freedom fighters with reverence, which they definitely do deserve. But post partition, there were so many of women, so many of fighters, whose stories have never been made public, or if they have been public, they've never received the kind of traction that they really deserved. This is what essentially drove me to write about my book, to give voice to some of these fighters whose stories have never broken surface. And my debut book deals with the events that occurred after the Indian and Pakistani governments they met to discuss a human rights violation about kidnapping of women. And the book primarily looks at it through protagonist's eyes. And since I come from a refugee family myself, both my parents are from pre-partition Pakistan. The stories that I've heard from my grandparents, from my uncles and aunts over the years when I was growing up, all of it together, it sort of propelled me to write. I sincerely hope that I can do some kind of justice to what happened, how these brave women experiences, and if I can bring some kind of justice to their life, it would be a very small part that I've played in their lives.
Congratulations, Natasha. I'm like super excited, for this contract and for your book. And I'm hoping that it happens very, very soon. But, as we all know, that the publishing industry moves very, very slowly. So what kind of a timeline are we looking at? Do you know, have you spoken to the publisher? When would it go into the editing stage?
Approximately, it would take a year, since I signed the contract sometimes in February this year. We can possibly look at maybe early next year.
Yeah, I think I recently spoke to Shraddha Sahi also. She has just released her book Tanaji with the Vishwakarma Publications, and her book actually was stuck for 3 years because of the pandemic and the hit that print media took. So yeah, I think even she was saying that 1 year is the kind of timeline that you can look at with a traditional publisher. So yeah, it's a long way to go for that.
Actually, if you think of it also in medical terms, human beings are the only mammals who give birth at 9 months. And ideally, the first 3 months of a child's life is considered to be, as in a colloquial term, is considered to be in utero, even though they are actually out because they're so dependent on the mother. So, generally life takes about a year to come get on its feet. And that's how books go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Biology 101.
For a book to take birth, it would definitely take at least, around 1 year. And during that time, once that you have signed the contract, during that time, how do you feel? So I want to ask you this question because I want to come back to this question. When we are nearer to the launch, 1 year down the line or probably earlier down the line, I want to come back to this question. How are you feeling right now about your book? Do you imagine yourself, kind of on literary festivals and giving speeches, receiving awards, something like that?
I have my speeches ready as per the literary fest that I would be called. Pune Lit acceptance speech, the Jaipur Lit acceptance speech, the Delhi one, you name it, I have it.
ये 1 साल का टाइम इसीलिए है ना वो आप प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो.
How do I feel? There is slight hint of imposter syndrome, and you sometimes you kind of wake up and you're like, is it really? And then the overwhelming feeling is, what if they hate it? I'm sure almost in every writer kind of goes through this. And I have pestered Monica about this a lot. And what if they don't like it? What if they don't like this? And she's like, no, what if they don't like it? The character arc, what if they don't like what I've done? Besides the fact that there is joy, there is a lot of uncertainty about the quality of one's work, because generally till we get more established, there is a sense of doubt that kind of exists in all of us, and that primarily that works. You're apprehensive, you're happy.
Yeah, it kind of goes up and down. I remember. So for everybody who's watching, I'll just share this one. As soon as we stepped out of Vishal sir's office, the moment we stepped out of Vishal sir's office, and he showed like phenomenal interest, and even Apojan showed like really good interest in the book and everything, and it was like 99.5% like done. Only the contract was remaining, and as soon as we stepped out of the office, Natasha is like, "सच में अच्छी है क्या मेरी book?" And I'm like, dude, we just like almost signed the contract. What are you saying?
I don't know if it happens to everybody, probably does. Low self-esteem is such a propellant, such a wind beneath our wings.
True.
It's always sitting here, or whichever the.
So I guess that's pretty normal, and I'm going to keep this recording for 1 year down the line, and you can revisit it and see yourself change and see yourself grow, and probably the imposter is not going anywhere. Obviously, it is never going to go anywhere, but at least that constant up and down wala feeling will have faded by then. So what are you planning in the meantime? Are you writing something else? Are you working on different kind of projects right now for your next book? What are you working on?
For those who know me, I have a finger in every pie. I love writing. I love reading different things, and in fact, Monica had once told me, how many books do you read at one time?
Yeah, she is like a Kindle junkie. She's like a Kindle junkie.
So if I'm in the mood for writing romance, I'll pick up a romance work that I'm writing, story that I'm writing on. If I'm in the mood for some kind of a mystery or comedy, then I would pick up something like that. But having said that, I'm not a very disciplined writer, but I'm trying to instill discipline in myself by working on my second novel, which is about 50% done, and the structure is completely ready. What I'm working on right now is putting in the fillers and
fillers, yeah.
That's where I am right now.
So that's great. You already have the outline. Like, let's call it the zero draft. You already have the zero draft, and you just have to put in character arcs and connecting scenes and fillers. and your second novel will already be ready. That's great.
I know it sounds so good on paper, no?
On paper, it's like you tell people, yeah, I've already written my second novel. Yeah, the fact that I'm not working on it right now is a completely separate thing. I'll take one last question for you, Natasha, and then I have a small rapid fire for you. I wanted to take revenge for your rapid fire that you took for me on Book It Up Wala session. So my last question to you, Natasha, is do you have any kind of advice or tips for other writers who are beginning their journey, or probably are have already begun their journey? Do you have any kind of advice or tips for them?
The first is, if you aren't an avid reader, please be an avid reader. There is no better teacher than a book. There is no better teacher than a writer. Second, all of us write crap at times. We do. There is no doubt about it that sometimes we write unadulterated rubbish on paper. Don't let it get you down, because there are times when words just don't flow. It's all muddy and it comes out in clumps. But it doesn't matter. The blockages that are there, that's preventing you from writing, it'll go away. You just keep writing the unadulterated crap that you are. It will settle. It does, and it happens to all of us. If you have a specific genre that you enjoy writing in, write it in that. If you are someone who's like me, I like all genres except horror. I'm really, really, really bad at it. Really bad. Write in every genre that you want. Experiment with everything. That's my biggest advice. Experiment with whatever style. If you are uncomfortable with first point of view, try with first point of view. Try third. Try second. Try as Monica had given us prompt. Try reverse chronology when you tell a story in reverse. So,
right.
Experiment. If you don't have a genre that you like, then experiment is your best friend. And read as much as you can. And mind your grammar. Pick up word skills. Word or whatever you're using, on Linux or wherever you're using. Have your skills down, because they will help you when you move ahead. Not many people tell you about this, but there are people that I know who will write, one story in one font and one story in other font, and there is no heading. It doesn't really matter. But it matters when, in the end, when you're reading the entire manuscript at one go, it is difficult to understand what chapter comes first. So try and learn these skills like chapter heading or captioning or justifying, and making a table of content, because these will help you a little later. It may not help you now, but these are something that surprisingly people don't talk about.
Yeah, I think
documentation skills.
Yeah, that's something that people don't talk about, because writing we are writers, our अपना काम writing करना है, editing कोई और ही करेगा, and this is something
edit करना पड़ता है ना,
exactly,
आप किसी को करना तो ले सकते हो, उसको आप गंदगी साफ करके देते हो, right?
Normally ऐसे बोलते हैं कि जो खाना हम बनाते हैं वो सिर्फ बनाना ही वहाँ पे खत्म नहीं हो जाता है काम. You need to present it as well, and that presentation skill is something that comes in every single thing that you do in your life. While speaking, while writing, while reading, everything.
This is not something which is mandatory or something that it's not a deal breaker or a showstopper, but it is something that one should know, because it is going to help you, as you go along. And also keep versioning, so for example, if you have your first draft, your second draft, so I usually do like story V1, story V2, V1, whatever, depending on how it changed. So that helps, because sometimes what happens, you edit something out and you've used that part that you've taken off is still dear to your heart, so you can always reuse it somewhere else. So to summarize, read, experiment if you don't have a genre, work on your grammar, work on your editing skills. Trust me, coming from me, it's a reverse of case of pot calling kettle black or whatever is the right. I'm a Hollywood editor, but my editing processes are right.
Right. So develop your own system. I think that's what works best for every person. You need to develop your own kind of system. You need to pick up from here and there and develop your own.
And one very important thing that many people who might not tell you, I can tell you this because I work on that field. Open up a Gmail account which is got to do only with your reading, so you can call yourself whatever. Mine is pocket full of words, and go to Google Drive and upload every document that you have ever written. Because for two things. One, of course, you would have it's saved, and in case of any kind of hard disk failure, you will always have a document. Two, if you suddenly get the urge of writing somewhere, you would, where you have internet access, you would possibly have some level of your document available to you. But primarily for saving your work, because crashes can happen digitally. That cloud is the only way to go. So that's one of my biggest advice. Please save your work on Google Drive or whatever works, your OneDrive or whatever you want to use. But please do that, because I started doing that. I often I have a practice every week. I update the drive with my work that's happening.
I mean, this is something that is very, very important. Not only because it helps you save your work and to come back to it wherever you are, wherever you have internet access, but also because, and this has happened to I think both of us and every writer out there, sometimes you pick up a story that you have written 20 years ago and you bring it out and you make it into a book. Okay, that happens. That has happened. So save your work, even if it is a little paragraph that you have written randomly, just note it down, put it on the cloud. Even if it is not edited, it is like, utter crap, just save it. You never know when you're going to come back to it.
You never know which idea. I mean, sometimes you have ideas that you think are crap, but it's not its time. I always feel every story has this time. So save, and save. When the time comes, the story will come to you. I mean, it sounds very esoteric or whatever. Tarot reading. I'm very spooky.
We are very politically correct.
Absolutely.
We are very politically correct.
We define political correctness.
Yes.
But that's not the name.
Yeah. Natasha Politically Correct Sharma. Okay. On that note, let's get into a rapid fire round. Okay. You cannot take more than 2 seconds to answer a question. अगर वो थोड़ा सा लंबा आंसर है तो you can take time. But if it is a one-word answer, then you have to immediately. Okay. All right. Rapid fire question number 1: reading or writing?
Reading.
Writing or editing?
You know the answer. Writing.
Writing or procrastinating?
Procrastinating.
Yes, me too. Hashtag me too. Not that one. We are politically correct.
We are politically correct.
Yeah, all right. Favorite book right now?
The Book Thief.
Oh, wow, I love that book. All-time favorite book?
I don't remember the title, but if I'm not mistaken, it is Requiem. I get that pronunciation always.
Requiem for
a devil. For a devil.
Oh, okay. I have not read this book. You need to send this name to me.
Yes, it's a romance about a devil who's been on Earth for a zillion years, and then he falls in love with a human, and essentially what happens.
So, wow, nice. Favorite genre to read?
Mystery / courtroom drama.
Nice.
And in between romance.
Romance, yes.
In between, after every book romance.
Palette cleanser चाहिए ना थोड़ा सा. कितना
courtroom drama होता है. हमारा IT balance में semicolon है, मतलब semicolon means romance. Romance, comedy, not romance, pure. I'm very specific.
Yes.
No paranormal also.
Okay. We have established that you do not like horror. Favorite genre to write?
Rom-com.
Right. I thought you would say humor. Wow. That's a revelation.
I mean, the banter comes in a romance. You cannot match it with anything else. It has to be snarky. It has to be good. It has to be funny. It has to, light something here, and it's all win-win for me.
I am so looking forward to a rom-com from your pen. Like it is going to be like bombastic. Alright, least favorite genre to read and write? I think we already know the answer to this.
I mean, it actually would be horror, but having said that, I have actually enjoyed a certain genre of horror, like Rosemary's Baby. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I've read it. I think Stephen King.
Oh, you have? I love it.
It's really good. But it's not that I don't like writing it because I can never create that fear. But I like writing. Not
So
often,
least
but
favorite genre to read?
I'm going to quote controversy, but self-help.
Oh yeah, I can totally understand that. I can totally understand that. Okay, if you could spend one day with your most favorite author, who would it be?
Louise Penny. She is the author of Gamash series, and initially a lot of my work was influenced by her. Shorter sentences, one words, a lot of it. So sometimes when I was recent, she releases one book every year. So each time when I read her book, and I will read my previous work, I'm like, oh my god, it's such a copycat. But I would say inspired.
Inspired, yeah.
So Louise Penny, all the way.
I need to read her work. I haven't read any of her.
It starts with A Still Life. That's the first one.
All right.
It's about a murder mystery, but written with a complete spectrum of human understanding, human relationships. There's so much to learn while you're reading her book. So, but at the end of the story, it's all about a mystery. So mystery is getting solved, but you're learning other things along the way. They're slow actually to start with.
Nice. I will check her out. Okay, last rapid fire question. One thing that you absolutely hate about writing?
Finding a different word for one you've already used. Oh my god. I mean, how many different ways can you say eyes?
I know. Google. Different word for eyes. Different word for gaze.
Wordhippo.com. I mean, I've learned peepers. I've learned. I'm like, यार ये मतलब कोई पकड़ के मारेगा ना. That is and so I have this habit. I underline that word in yellow, highlight it in yellow in Word, and then I sort of come back to it. Yeah, ये word ना 5 बार use हो गया है, but you have to replace it. But then you're not bothered, but you must understand that come back and replace it. So that is for me the biggest.
Do you go to Google synonyms for this word?
For the most inane things, sometimes I don't remember the word, so I will write horse sound.
Oh god, this is so common, right? This is so common, and I have been the butt of jokes for this. Like, हाँ, ये writer है. She is a writer. She doesn't know the word for this, and I'll be on Google. What do you call? What do you call when this happens? What is the name?
I had once written what you call walking fast. It's running, by the way, in case you all don't know.
We are dropping huge insightful nuggets. Walking fast is called running. You should know that.
You should know that, and you should know that if you're a writer. No, this is the underbelly of writing. When you struggle for words that are similar but express the same meaning but are not the same.
Right.
Writing is just a journey of finding the right synonyms. So, when you're writing romance, and especially when you're writing a romance, the first kiss scene or a first time they kiss or whatever, you're like, oh god. I mean, romance apart, the feelings तो बहुत दूर की बात है, you're not even feeling the feeling. उसने उसको देखा, अच्छा एक बार तो gaze हो गया. Second time their eyes met. Third time he looked at her, चलो look नहीं आया. अभी gaze भी आ गया फिर से.
कितनी बार देखेगा? कर लेना उसको
मतलब फिर तो देखेंगे. Stop. Then I say, she closed her eyes. Okay. Their lips touched and she closed their eyes. He closed their eyes. Okay. But his eyes were closed. But I think it is such a common problem, trying to find the synonyms. And for someone who's for the lack of any other word, anal like me, I needed a synonym for that point. I will stop and I will think, yaar, ye word jam nahi raha hai. And then I will read the rest of the story, and then I will spend the next 10 minutes trying to find the right word to fit it. And only once I get it, I will go back to the story.
So we have, kind of just gone and, क्या कहते हैं उसको, in the dark underbelly of writing in this session. Whoever is watching, I'm going to just put it over here, Natasha Politically Correct Sharma, so that there is no doubt about it in anybody's mind.
The abyss looks into you. And the abyss is full of words that don't have synonyms. It's full of words that don't have synonyms.
Okay, on that note, we will wrap up this session. Natasha, it has been an absolute blast talking to you. And I'm going to make so many memes and so many boomerangs out of this video. And then 1 year down the line, when your book launches, I'll come back to these videos and you will come back to these videos and you'll say, oh my God, my best friend is embarrassing me.
I have this innate quality of embarrassing myself. It's called foot in the mouth syndrome. With me, it's the entire leg in the mouth. I mean, foot to adur ki baat hai. So I'm just going to look enigmatic.
Yeah, enigmatic. that won't even be like, stop it.
I can't even hold up to it.
You can't even be pseudo enigmatic. Like you will be like for enigmatic. Thank you, Natasha, for coming to Pay It Forward. It has been so amazing talking to you, and looking forward to interacting with you again a few months down the line, and to get to know more updates about your upcoming book. All the best to you and all the best to your book. And we are all of us are so excited to kind of witness the launch. Congratulations.
Buy the book, review it when it comes out.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.
That was brilliant. Honestly speaking, I have never laughed so hard in any of my previous videos. I am so excited for Natasha's debut novel to come out. I have beta read it obviously and I love it, and I'm sure that it is going to connect to a lot of people out there. So all the best to you, all my love and all my blessings to you and your book, baby. Eagerly awaiting its launch. Thank you so much. That's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for joining us and thank you for listening to us blabber on for like an hour. Thank you so much. You guys have so much patience. I love you. Until next time, love and light to you. Bye bye.